The Honda Civic has been the best-selling passenger vehicle in Canada for about a decade and a half. And in 2011, they brought out the 2012 Honda Civic, an update that we've been basically waiting for about 7 years. The problem with that car was really just a carryover from the previous model, and that vehicle got raked over the coals from a lot of the auto press. Not me. You can actually go and read my review at motormouth.ca. I was kind of fair with the car. I said, you know, it didn't have the updates that a lot of people were looking for it, but it was still a very good vehicle to drive day in and day out. But here we are, just one model year later. This is the 2013 model, and they've already gone back to the drawing board and updated the vehicle. I guess they felt that they didn't want to let their reputation slide on the merits of their best-selling vehicles. So, updates to the front end, including a lower front bumper, a bigger opening. The back, in my opinion, looks fantastic. Classy looking lights, looks much better and more sophisticated than any Civic we've seen in the past. Now granted, this is the touring model, the top of the line version for the base engine. There is the SI, the performance model above it, but this really is the top sort of luxury model of the Civic, and it gets these fantastic looking alloy wheels. The problem with the Civic is the base models, until you spend around $20,000, you get those cheap-looking steel wheels, and I don't know why companies are still doing this. You look at vehicles like the Kia Forte, only on their base model you get steel wheels. One step above that, you get the alloy wheels, and that's the way the market is going. But Honda didn't just stop with exterior updates. The interior was another sore spot with a lot of people, and they've updated that as well. Well, it's so nice to come inside because it is raining out there. The one thing about the Civic, it's always been an attractive vehicle because of the price point. It starts around $15,500 and goes up to just around $25,000 if you want to get the fully loaded touring that we have here. The SI is more money, about 26 grand. Now, the updates for the inside were definitely welcome. The problem with the 2012, we're talking just one model year before, is the fact that it was covered with cheap, hard plastic. Very functional. The functionality of the car hasn't changed. It still has one of the best seating positions, a real wraparound cockpit design. Everything is close at hand with the split speedo and tack here. That hasn't changed. What they've done is they've covered everything with better quality materials. They've got a nicer looking finish around the heat and the radio controls here. They've gone with a soft touch applique on the doors, the armrests, on the sides of the car, and also in the center and on the front of the dash. Now it's just really skin because above and the top of the dash, this is all still hard plastic, but all the stuff that's facing you and touching is softer plastic. Now people say, why does that matter? Does it really make a difference? Well, first of all, it's nicer to touch, and it also doesn't scratch as easily, and that's one of the things about a car after a year or so, getting in and out, banging things, women getting in and hitting the side of the dashboard with their handbag, buckles, things like that. It can scratch quite easily. Now, other updates to the interior of this vehicle, they've gone a little bit more chrome accents around the cup holders here in the center. They've updated also the features in this car. If you get one above the base model, you get heated seats. That's a nice feature. If you go to the mid-level trim, starts around $20,000, you get a backup camera and the little heads-up screen here right beside the speedo. If you go full-blown and you get the navigation system, the backup camera goes from that screen into the one where the navigation unit is. Now, here's one pet peeve of mine. This radio that they have in here with the screen and the navigation really looks like an afterthought, an aftermarket stereo that's been plugged in at Best Buy or something like that. It doesn't look like it's polished and finished inside the car. The actual base radio, we don't have a picture of it here, but it looks more integrated and looks better. The buttons are small and the graphics really are simplistic. Recently had a chance to drive the new Kia Forte, and the graphics in that vehicle are really dazzling. They look brilliant, and they look like they're in a much more expensive car. So that's one area. I really don't like the radio. I don't think it even sounds very good. The buttons are small and the navigation system looks kind of cheap. What this vehicle does have going for it is what it's always had going for it. It's a comfortable vehicle to spend time. Backseat is great because it's got a flat floor. This is fabulous for kids loading in and out of the backseat. There's no big hump in the center here to get in and out of. The trunk is a good size. All of the goodness that the Civic already had that made it the best seller in the country is still here. They've just sort of polished it a little bit more, and that's not a bad thing. Now, Honda could take some criticism for not updating the drivetrain in this vehicle, even from the model before 2012. Still 140 horsepower, 5-speed automatic transmission, or you can get the manual. It could use 6th gear, but the average person getting up, going to work, picking up their kids after school, they're not even going to notice. So there's two ways of thinking about this. How come they don't have the latest, newest, most invigorating things like a direct injection, dual clutch automatic transmissions? Well, the thing is that this works. The average person isn't going to know. It's going to deliver good fuel economy, and it's not going to break down. It's tried and true technology. Now, the updates they did make for 2013 mostly surround the drive of the vehicle and the insulation. This vehicle, in my opinion, one of the weakest points was the sound insulation, and they've addressed that. They've got an acoustic windshield in here, more sound deadening material throughout the cabin, and it makes it a much more pleasant vehicle to drive. The old Honda Civic, you kind of droned along, you could hear a lot of road noise, and that's not the case anymore. In addition, they've updated the bushings, the spring rates of this vehicle to give it a more dynamic drive. And that's one thing that this car never really had a problem with. It is a much more invigorating ride than much of the competition. A lot of compact cars have what's called a torsion beam suspension in the back. This one has an independent suspension, and it makes it a rewarding car when you throw it into the corners. So what you have with the Honda Civic, the reliability, the tried and true drivetrain that they've always had, you package it with a much quieter and more refined ride than it used to have, and it still has the driving dynamics that people have come to enjoy with the Honda Civic. So if they could tweak a few things like a better looking radio in here, I think that would go a long way to pleasing most people. But this is definitely a step up from any Honda Civic we've had in the past. Now, the Honda Civic is the best-selling car in the country for good reason. A lot of people go to the Bank of Honda. They put their money in anywhere from $17,000 to $24,000. They get a Civic, they drive it, no nonsense, for several years, and then they go and sell it. It's a known entity in the used market. People really feel comfortable investing in this product, knowing that it's going to return good value for them as they go down the road. And what they've done with this new updated, sort of rush back to market 2013 model is give more back to the customer. This is the car we should have got about a year and a half ago, and I'm glad that Honda has made the updates.